Thank you very much, and thank you for all the organizers to actually adjust and accommodate myself because of this hodgepodge that happened to me. Okay, so thank you very much. So I will be talking about around 1.5 decades of journey of a lot of civil society organization, academic institutions, academicians, researchers who came together to form a network platform which is called the Revitalizing Rainfed Agriculture Network. Many of our Indian colleagues know about the network, but primarily for the French delegates, I think a bit of information about the network would be probably useful. And then this network is primarily looked into the how policy can be developed in the Rainfed and why it is. So I'll be talking more about why we do what we do and how we do. And in this aspect, today probably we are fighting a losing battle on a lot of policy aspects because policy is it's a long-term processes, but there might be some kind of hope that has been generated in the last few years as well. So let me go to the next slide. I can this. Okay, so there are few important information needs to be looked into about the rainfed agriculture in the country. So this is the largest rainfed area in the world, which is in India, 86 million hectares. If you look at these maps, which are in orange in color, is the rainfed districts. And if you look at the rainfed districts, the tribal density also the more orange and the darker orange color. These are the tribal density and the poverty index. If you look at all three things actually overlap. So then generally the poverty landscape in the country is actually belongs to the rainfed area. But it's also have an interesting contribution to the Indian agriculture. Look at that millets 89%, the pulses 88%, oilseeds 69%. So that means the whole nutrition is being actually produced by these rainfed areas in the country. But these areas are also neglected. I'll come to that. But this area considerably produce rice. 40% of rice comes from this. But very interesting facts which is not available there, but in some of the other slides when I talk more about the livestock. In that way, most of my work has been on the livestock integration in the farming system. So 70% of the Indian livestock primarily is in the rainfed areas. So this is the kind of wealth is available. But if we look at that, how policy has been framed as Vijay Sankar has touched upon certain policy framework and the mindset while the policy was for Indian agriculture. So conventional green revolution framework was created primarily on the good soil, water which is there. You have the irrigation facilities, then you have actually brought out all the support services required for success of the green revolution. But with this success of the green revolution, actually the policy and the public investment in the rainfed areas, these rainfed areas was left out of it because there was a undiluted terrain. There was a poor soil in this area. There are a lot of dry spells. People do not able to manage that. What is required for the dry spells? These areas has not had the irrigation, and then all these areas are left out of PDS system. So government decided to produce rice and wheat in certain areas with the irrigation facilities and all that, and then food should be supplied to the others. So therefore we thought that there is a need of a important focus needs to be given, because in the rainfed, 60% of the farmers dependent on the rainfed. If we look at the small and marginal farmers, more than 85% of the small and marginal farmers are dependent on the rainfed. However, the certain policies which have been taken up in the Green Revolution, that was actually been extended to the rainfed areas, where we thought that the merely extension of the Green Revolution framework will not actually work in the rainfed areas. So there is a need of a different paradigm. We need to understand the constraints of the natural resources here. So therefore, you need to come up with these areas are risk-prone areas. So therefore, you need to look at the production system. Primarily, we say in the RRA network is that the natural resource management and production system and livelihood needs to be merged together to get a greater remunerative income and risk reduced income to the Rainfed farmers. So we thought that there is a need of a different paradigm in case of Rainfed. What are we doing enough? Let us look at that. What are the things that have been happening in the Rainfed area? What kind of a historical injustices happened in terms of public investment in case of Rainfed areas? So one of the important program for public investment in Rainfed was basically the watershed program. Though it was mainly on the natural resource management, but later on some of the components of the livelihood has also been incorporated. But if you look at that, the investment of the watershed is continuously going down. And if you look at the 40 years of cumulative expenditure in watershed is actually less than 1 year of fertilizer subsidy. And subsidy, fertilizer subsidy, 1/3 can be used by the Rainfed areas, but the 2/3 of the fertilizer subsidy goes to the irrigated belt. So this is the way that investment is going on. Now, if we look at the few of the other investment, like studies and etc., you see that hardly 15-20% of the investment goes to the Rainfed. If you look at that, not only about the fertilizer subsidy, seed subsidy, and etc., you look at that procurement. Procurement only happens primarily for the rice and wheat. And decadal study says that the government has invested 540,000 crores for procurement of rice and wheat in a decadal. Though the data is a bit late, but it is in 1 decade. And in contrast to that, government investment on the procurement of post-cereal was hardly 3,200 crores. So it looks like that these areas has been neglected by the policy as well as the public investment. So therefore, we thought that those who have been working on the watershed for a long time, several organizations came together. We have been assisted by a lot of academicians who wanted to look at Rainfed areas differently. Many of the ambassadors of the network is already here. And then we thought that we need to have a differential policies for Rainfed. We need a higher level of public investment, and there is a need of how the investment should happen. So therefore the network was emerged 15 years ago, and then with the objective of the nature of investment should be appropriate towards development. It is not that you irrigated. We do not need a hybrid seeds in most of the Rainfed areas, but if you are actually diverting those hybrid seeds to the Rainfed, it will not be. So therefore, nature of investment has to be changed. The amount of investment has to be improved, and then your delivery mechanism has to be changed. Because currently, the extension mechanism primarily deals with the input supply, and nowadays it is mostly on TV. Right? Most of that time goes for the actually sanctioning the dividend. So how the framework has evolved in the RRA, it's actually look at the practice more deeply and try to understand the science, particularly the people science more, and then backed up with a lot of researcher interested on this subject, and then looked at the policy. So this is the kind of a strategy we decided the network should work on this angle. And then we thought that in the morning, Vijay Shankar was telling that some kind of a concept, or we say it as a proposition kind of a thing for Rainfed agriculture in India. We call it as the 10 propositions of Rainfed agriculture, which looks into the ecology, economy, and the equity together. And one of the initial policy brief that Rajeshwari Raina has also looked for this part of it. So there is a minute nuances for this. So soil, what we are talking about soil. In soil, there is in terms of government investment, it is the chemicals. There is no biology into it. So then, what is the framework has emerged in RRA is to look at the 3 M's which emerged from another consultation back into 2017. That is called that we need to do the practices that helps in microbial activities, including the microbial activities. We need to come up with the practices that helps in organic matter and practices that helps in actually moisture management. In each and every aspect, whether it is the seed, whether it is the soil, whether it is the crop systems, and then also look at how the water is required for the rainfed. It is not the irrigation per se, but it is actually saving the crop when it is in the dry spells. So probably too water in the rainfed can actually change the story of the rainfed. So everywhere, so in case of seeds, we looked at very minutely that we need a timely quality seeds with a diverse crops, and this diversity is not available in the current seed framework of the government, both at the state level as well as the union government. So then, what kind of a framework has emerged in the rainfed areas? As far as seed system is concerned, it is more about the community managed seed system. But you actually looked at which are the seeds and the crops which grows traditionally in a particular agroecology. You go for the selection of those collections of those seeds, then go for the selections of those seeds with their criteria, characters, and etc. which are suitable. Then go for the multiplication and go for the distribution. And this kind of a nuance framework has been tested at the ground, at the different agroecology, which we used to call it as a comprehensive pilot, which was done in 7 locations in 5 states, particularly which are the rainfed state as such. Then we work on the agroecology and agronomic innovations. A lot of organization has been part of that to generate those knowledge, understanding on particular agroecology. We say that it is important to look as a landscape. In that particular rainfed landscape, you have the farm, you have the livestock, you have the water bodies. There are numerous water bodies which are small and seasonal water bodies where there is a lot of potential for fish production and etc. Fish production. Government does not do any kind of an investment for a water body which is less than 1 hectare. So in whole rainfed areas, there are numerous water bodies which are actually behind from the policy and the public investment. Similarly, in case of livestock, some of the things that already my colleague Bhavna has also said, that the focus should be on the creating the support system for the livestock, whether it is large ruminant, whether it is the local breed, how the local breed has to be recognized. Then we need to look at that what is the small ruminant, how they interact with the commons. All these things has to come out. So then there is another area, important area that we looked into is about the poultry, which has a lot of linkages with the nutrition, and then Dr. Rock has also talked about that we need to go for a diverse, healthy diet instead of calories. So if you look at one of the data that I just telling you, whatever the birds you see in the rural backyard, as far as 2012 livestock census, 84% was native chicken. In 2019, as per the 2019 livestock census, in the backyard, 82% is the native chicken or indigenous chicken or desi birds. What is the public investment on that? At the central government level, Indian government level, it is zero. And I am saying zero means zero, right? And then there are few states who have started some kind of an interventions and investment, but that is in very peanut. But look at that which is the most sustainable, well adopted in the country. 84% of them are available in the country. There is no public investment. Right? So this is the way that we came up with 10 concept propositions in the RRA, and we said that we need to look at into a landscape and try to figure it out how the support system needs to be developed. The current framework of livestock is actually giving animals. We said that in RRA there is no need of giving animals. If you come up with a better support services, then the animals will automatically regenerate. And one of the experiences that is in Andhra about this. Two things that I will go with a bit of a more information. One about this community managed system. So network has a strength of more than 800 affiliates, and many of them are the civil society organization. More than 250 civil society organization participates on building the experiences on the ground. This community managed system experiences is about 10 years of experiences, and with these experiences we could be able to do some kind of a movement in the policy framework. So you come back to that on the seeds, what has been done. And then I would also like to draw upon that there is a multiple cropping systems, which is a more used to be very prominent into the different rainfed areas. And if you look at that, someone was also talking about Varanaj. There is an Abdanya in Andhra Pradesh. There is a Apdi Salu in Karnataka. There is a Hamri Kheti in Rajasthan. There is a Baramasi in the state of Maharashtra. It is Pata Paddhati in Vidarbha. So different traditional cropping systems were available, which actually deals with a lot of principles of agroecology, which we actually lost, and we tried to study all these things and then try to look at what is the principles behind it. So the principles behind it is actually look at one time sowing, multiple time harvesting, and trying to keep the soil cover as much as possible. It might be 300 days, and last crop is being harvested in most of the places in the casket. And if you listen, Anmol system is one of the traditional cropping system that Praveen is also present on that. They were also part of this study. So looking at that to make the rainfed agriculture, which is a very risk prone, how we can actually build the climate resilience into the system, and multi-cropping system is one of the very important aspects of it. So in RRA we work as a working groups. So a lot of working groups, into working group, millets working group. Then we have this cropping system working group, market working group. So a lot of working groups, as well as some of the state chapter where there is a lot of rainfedness. So you looked into the fodder, try to look at that how the fodder is coming up. Please give me last 2 minutes, then I need to move into a 2 slides only. I will go into that. So as a network, so with a lot of civil society organization, academicians, we are able to look at actually mobilize the public investment in the framework that is required in the rainfed areas, about 5,000 crores investment. However, the major investment are in the Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Maharashtra and all that. And recently we also able to mobilize that NDMA. I was very happy to actually see that this is also a disaster program, and then the division also. And then with the National Rainfed Area Authority, we are able to say that 1200 crore needs to be investment in the 12 states to come up with a more drought mitigation program which deals with this kind of a situation. The last probably I will go to the last one, but we looked at, because I wanted to also talk about our learning experiences. So at the different level, at the union government level, we looked into a lot of policies. try to understand what are the deficit in the guidelines, what are the deficit in the what are the budget been provided in those policies. If you look at that, there is a mission. There are a lot of missions. So there is a mission on oilseed and palm oil. If you look at the biodiversity, how many times the biodiversity appears in the guideline of the national mission, oilseed mission, the number is shared. Okay. So then look at where is this? So therefore our focus has been what is there in the design. So whether the design is appropriate for the Rainfed, what is there for the decentralization, how the community will participate into it. Then look at that whether the diversity is there in the guideline. So it is basically 3D that we look into and the delivery mechanism. But at the local level, it is important to work with the CBOs and the MPOs and all that, and the district administration. We always try to look at how the district administration, how the KVKs, we can engage with them to change the mindset towards the Rainfed agriculture, and then also at the state level. So there are a lot of policy outcome that I see that in the recent years. Some of them are actually, the first part is basically some of the policy change that has been made, and then it has manifested through the public investment. At the union government is the first part of it, whether it is inclusion of millets by Niti Aayog into the ICDS in the aspirational districts in Telangana, whether we also bring up the new generation water set guideline that talks about more about the agroecology than the civil engineering structure. So some of them are primarily at the union government level. The middle part is a lot about the state, because agriculture is the state subject, so we need to engage with states a lot more, and we have got a lot of benefit of engaging with some of the states like Andhra Pradesh, Odisha primarily. And in Odisha you have heard about the OMM. Probably Dinesh could not come, so he could not spoke about the Odisha Millet Mission, but Odisha Millet Mission is the first program in the country where agriculture department talks about nutrition. So agriculture department always talks about productivity. So they do not talk about nutrition as an objective. However, nutrition security is one of the objective, and this OMM program is run through the agriculture department. So these kind of changes could happen because of a lot of organization being part of the network, collective pressures has been created, and then several states has now moving into the concept that has been emerged from the RRA network. And then there is a district level. The third part is actually looking at the district, actually looking at the ITTA, what are the investment is happening, whether the investment under the TSP, our whole Desi Backyard Poultry program is actually tied up and bringing the TSP fund to the ITTA level. So ITTA is the districts are very, very important to actually tie up with that. Look at the GPDP, where is the possibilities of bringing in Rainfed lens into the planning process of GPDP, whether it is in case of Malkangiri in Odisha, whether it is in case of Himachal Pradesh GPDP processes. So these are basically the areas where we worked on the policies and bringing public investment together as a network, as a lot of having the civil society organization, research and academia. I think this is my last slide. Thank you very much.
Long live India and France friendship.